What's up, you pencil neck geeks? It's
right.
me, the Golden Pony, sitting in the Darkitect seat. Here we are, another episode of the Store Horsemen. How exciting. To my left, you know him as the evil genius, creator of historical roasts on Netflix. One of our favorite people. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Firth is here.
What's going on, guys? Fun week of wrestling?
Yeah, we're going to talk all about it. I'm excited. And to his left, all the way around the table.
That's right.
To my right.
To his straight.
But not that straight.
To your hearts.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great and powerful Matt the Cat Edgar.
Or the woken one.
Meow.
I like
Meow.
the cat.
The kitty cat. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Yep, I'm a cat guy.
And you're...
Matt Cat.
Do you miss
It's my new
cat?
podcast.
Do you miss the cat?
Shut up. Yes,
Oh, you're
Sorry.
catless.
I'm catless.
Oh.
But I got pussy. No, I'm
Whoa, look out.
kidding. Okay. Let's keep it moving.
There we go. So here we are, another episode of the Store Horsemen. Big weekend wrestling. Great stuff happening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody that's listening can't wait to get right to business. And before we do that, I just want to mention that today's episode, believe it or not, is brought to you by Blue Chew. You like sex? You guys do, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you like sex, you'll love BlueChew.com. Blue Chew offers men a performance enhancement for the bedroom. Wouldn't you like to last longer? Go extra rounds, have a little Iron Man match in the bedroom? At BlueChew.com, you can get the first chewables with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. Chewables can work faster than pills, up to twice as fast, in fact. And the chewables from Blue Chew can be taken on a full or empty stomach. Online physician consult is free, so it's cheaper than those other two. It only takes a few minutes to connect with a BlueChew.com affiliated physician, and if you qualify, you get prescribed online quickly. No in-person doctor visits, no awkward conversation, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. The chewables from BlueChew.com are prescribed online by a doctor and made in the USA. Blue Chew gives you confidence in bed every time. You and your partner will love it. Chew it and do it. Here's a great deal for you guys. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first order free when you use the promo code HORSE. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code HORSE. That's easy to remember. BlueChew.com.
Hello, ladies.
That's
The Big Valboski.
That's
Uh-huh.
right. That's what I thought about the whole time.
He
Yeah.
eats Blue Chew for breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it always might be funny if he had a boner under his towel. Never did, and he kissed those girls all the time.
Yeah.
He'd pick a girl out of the audience and make out with them. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He really picked them out. Just a complete stranger.
Well, that's how cool he is.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Everybody wants to make out with him.
Can you imagine doing that and like he's making out with a girl and her dad comes back and she turns out she's like 16, just punches Val Venus in the face and it actually hurts him because it was a real punch.
I wasn't ready.
Maybe that
You
would
didn't stomp your feet.
Yeah.
maybe that would have popped a rating on Raw.
Yeah, well, that was
Right.
that was a good time of wrestling back. That was the Attitude Era. They didn't need help.
So was Monday night.
But it would be a
Yep.
great. That would be the biggest push of Val Venus' career, where he has to fight somebody's dad.
That would be great. Can't believe they never thought of that. Raw reunion happened this past
They did
Monday.
cut off his dick, though.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. Initial thoughts of what stood out to you about the Raw reunion on Monday night.
I mean, I'm going to sit in the chair that I sit in every week, which is that it's not as bad as everybody said it was, but
Right.
it was fun in certain ways, and certainly the criticism of they could have used people differently to advance different talents, absolutely. But beyond that, when you start to show off with John Cena, I'm in automatically. I'm a unabashed John Cena fan. So just to see him there, have him there, let him do his little thing with the Usos, that got me going right away. And the rest of it was exactly what you'd expect. It's weird because they do seem to have a lot of these nostalgia shows popping up, right? We know that they just had Raw 25. Now they have the Raw reunion. And they're going to have something big for SmackDown where they're probably going to bring a lot of people back. In this instance, there are a few names that were absent from the roster, like Undertaker did not make an appearance, even though he's been around for a while in the last
He wasn't
couple
on
weeks.
Monday Night Raw.
He's not on Monday Night
Right.
Raw for the reunion.
He doesn't like reunions. He's an Undertaker.
Yeah.
This guy's not big on revisiting people.
No, he likes funerals.
That's
not
right.
reunions.
Yeah. So there are a few segments that I think did really, really well. They obviously the 24/7 title, which has been interesting. They used a lot of people really effectively within that.
Isn't it funny that everybody bashed that when it came out? Didn't want to give it a chance. Literally
the
goes,
belt.
this is what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Everyone, when it first happened, and the smoke has cleared, and the 24/7 belt, blatantly, probably the most interesting damn belt on the show now.
And it seems to fly in the face of what most people are asking for, which is some sort of consistent booking and long-term thought. And a lot of times people will say funny isn't money in wrestling. That's a very common phrase. Funny ain't money. You're never going to draw a main event on funny. But in this instance, it's crossing over to their social media platform. Their Instagram and their YouTube pages are doing well with it. And it is one of the better segments for this complete goofy title that again flies in the face of everything that we would normally ask for, which is take it seriously and play it like it's a sport. And there's no rhyme or reason. He kicks out of a pin and that's just over and we're fine. But yeah, the $1 Million Man buying the title, Alundra Blaze for no apparent reason, almost threatening to dump it in a trash can. You have all of these little beats that I'm like, they shouldn't work, but I had fun watching it.
Right. Picture a world where the Intercontinental Championship means something.
Mm-hmm.
What if you had that? What if having the IC belt? What if there was a stipulation where if you defend it 5 times in a row without losing it, you become the number 1 contender?
Oh, I love that.
Think about it, and then they spell it out for the people, right? So there's a new rule: you have to defend it 5 times. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something that Vince comes up, I want to shake things up with. What's the point, right? You have to win. You have to beat 5 matches in a row. What the only problem is? Who's the champion now? Not Finn.
Shinsuke.
Shinsuke. Well, good luck, Shinsuke, because your first opponent this week will be. You know what I mean? Give him someone hard. Rusev.
Yeah.
A hard match or something like that. Then it means something. And then you come back next week invested in Shinsuke having the IC belt. After he wins, this is his 2nd in a row. I mean, maybe he loses then. Maybe he loses the belt, just like he was going to lose the belt anyway.
Yeah.
But now at least there's something. Now help you when you're 4 weeks in and you're watching just to see Shinsuke, is he going to become the number 1 contender? That's what we watch the Royal Rumble for. Who's going to be the number 1 contender? Who's going to get a shot at the belt? And also, one could easily say that if we see you truly earn a shot at the heavyweight championship, you're more than likely, usually, gonna win the fucking thing. But then again, it's just also, easy. It's all right there for them to do. It's right there for the taking. They could take what I just said, write it into a Monday episode, and do it. There's a new rule with the Intercontinental Championship. Instead of it being this runner-up for up-and-comers award, have it count.
I don't know if you guys used to. Do you ever read all the wrestling magazines? They call them the after magazines.
A little
right?
bit.
They were just. I always thought of them
When I
in
was
my
in
head
like
as
middle school.
yeah. It was in the 90s. They were Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Wow.
And
World
Yeah.
of Wrestling.
Yeah.
and they were all. And one of my favorite things in those was usually at the back they'd have
The rankings.
monthly rankings.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I loved it.
And the Intercontinental Champion was always essentially the second.
Mm-hmm.
And the second right behind the heavyweight champ,
Yeah.
and was considered either the number 1 or number 2 contender, depending on what was going on.
Yeah.
And I always loved that. And I always loved those kind of bullshit rankings, even if they were fixed a little, just because it was something to look at.
And here's something else, is that it gives the person a reason to want that belt. If you can't win the heavyweight championship because it doesn't get defended that week or whatever, you know what I mean? Like usual, then have a reason to have the Intercontinental Championship belt. And by the way, and you might be thinking, well, what happens when you win 5 in a row? Do you get a shot at the championship and the IC belt? No. It becomes the Intercontinental belt is a special thing where it would get retired. And then the next week, guess what? You start again.
So it's like
We're going to find out who the new Intercontinental Champion will be tonight on Raw.
Yeah.
just like the what's that other belt in UFC? The inter.
Well, they don't. That's only in case of it takes an
Wait, is it
anomaly.
an
Someone has to
interim
miss
champion?
weight or something like that. Because if the guy deserves a shot and the other person can't have their championship, The interim belt is a thing that it's a temporary thing in UFC. It's not a belt that exists for each weight class.
So okay, so they don't have like toys at Walmart of the interim belt.
No.
It's the same championship,
Yeah.
just the guy who's holding it can't defend for some reason.
So is it real?
Yeah.
It is, and essentially what happens
And
is
is it in the
usually- you know what
books
it
like
is?
you're the champion?
You want to
Yeah.
know what the interim champion is most closely like? It's
What?
like when Razor Ramon was Intercontinental Champion, but Sean felt he had the actual claim to it because he never lost it, and so now at WrestleMania 10 they had 2 belts,
Yep.
Yeah.
and whoever wins that match is the undisputed.
Gotcha.
But instead of joining and holding 2 belts, they
Right.
just came with both, and it was like one Intercontinental Champion when we walk out of here.
I get you.
Shinsuke had a good. This is not something I thought I would say, but Shinsuke and Apollo Crews had a pretty good match on SmackDown for the Intercon. I don't know if the belt was on the line or not, but it was.
What surprises
I
you
think
about that?
I'm not a big Apollo Crews fan. I've never seen him as the guy. I respect that he's incredibly athletic.
Yeah.
He's very well gifted in the ring, but
Yeah.
I'd never seen something that he did where I was like, okay, this is a guy I would get behind, or this is something that intrigued me.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a match of his, even in NXT, where I was like, oh, I get it just yet. I thought he was called up a little early, that he could have used another year
Sure.
of seasoning.
Seasoning the character, by the way, because I think the wrestler's good. I mean, I've seen him. I've seen him in PW. I've seen him live. Like he's good at wrestling.
Yeah.
The problem is just vanilla as it gets. That dumb smile,
Yeah.
that happy. Like, what are you happy about, man?
Yeah.
There's nothing to be happy about right now. I hate that shit. But if that was more worked out, if he
Yeah.
had more, he needs a motive. He has no motive.
You
To
know,
me, he's like
yeah.
a circus. He's like part of a circus. He like does like flips off balls and shit.
So their match was awesome. It really goes to show what somebody like Shinsuke can do with a title like that. If you give him the chance to go out and have, I'll always compare it to like a Mr. Perfect title reign, or a Bret Hart Intercontinental, or Shawn Michaels Intercontinental.
It's always a
title reigns.
great like. It's a big fight.
And
You get that big fight feel.
And when it seems like the belt might change hands, or it could, like even the time, I'll go back to the beginning of Raw when Shawn Michaels is defending against Hacksaw Jim Duggan for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row on Raw. And as a kid, I was like, oh, he really might do this. And in actuality, of course he's not. But Shawn is making it look that way, or they're putting on these excellent matches. And that's what we want when we say we want the Intercontinental title to mean something. And so far, Shinsuke's run has done that.
Well, I mean,
And-
it's brand new, but he's done that with Intercontinental titles
Mhm.
before in
And he's
different
supposed to-
companies.
Is it that one or the U.S. title that's going to be on the pre-show at SummerSlam? I don't know if they announced their match yet, but I'm sure Shinsuke will have
It's
some sort of
crazy
it,
that these title fights are on pre-shows.
Yeah, it's
And
so
they want their
bizarre.
belts to matter. Why are you putting it during the potluck? Why is it up during the friends and employees?
Because in that vein, they're not at this point. They are title heavy, right? So if you have 2 women's and 2 men's main titles, that's 4 title matches on a show already. You gotta bump something. Like, what are you're gonna bump an actual main title to pre-show? Nah. So I agree, it's weird. But if you defended every title on the pay-per-view, kind of like WrestleMania, you'd have almost every match be a title match, and that's where it kind of gets. I think it would get almost bland to the taste, because you have Universal, WWE,
Yeah.
both women's titles, both tag belts, the women's tag belt, and then the other 2, the Intercontinental and European, and the Cruiserweight. That's 10 title belts they have.
Wow.
And that's not counting this 24/7, which is you're just going to run around the arena.
Yeah.
10 matches would be a full night of championship matches. That's your whole show.
Maybe
That's fine.
maybe that's how it should be.
I think so.
Maybe pay-per-view should be all championships, and maybe like one thing that's just crazy.
Good old grudge match.
Shane McMahon versus
number
The
one,
Undertaker.
number one contender match. I mean, those are fine. But
I
like,
love number 1 contender matches.
Me too.
And that would make every match on Raw and SmackDown number 1 contender matches, or building to get it, because then they're not.
I mean, you would want that position to matter.
Mhm.
If you're number 1 contender, that's a big credit. Like, I'm the number 1 contender.
Yeah.
Like, I'm next in line.
Yeah.
All the greats were the number 1 contender.
Mm-hmm.
And now that just doesn't, you don't really hear that term too much. That's kind of why, honestly, I don't really like Money in the Bank.
Whoa.
I don't like the concept.
Go for it. Why not?
Whoa.
I just don't like that you could cash in. That just takes away from the sport of it. I know it's sports entertainment, but I still like I want the fight feel. I want the feel of it. Like, you don't see fucking Conor McGregor running down with the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have
I
that.
want the idea of a match being developed. Like, I want if there's a feud, that's fine, but it's like they're training, they're having other matches to get ready for this big one. I hate the idea of just you get to lose it all right there.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, it's over. The title, the world title, could change that easily. That's irresponsible to me.
It's irresponsible.
It
I like that.
is.
Like,
It's the world title. That should be a fight. How do you mean this gimmick match with a ladder could get anybody that's in that match? Like, I hate that.
Come
I hate it.
on.
It's not even.
I get where you're coming from with it. I don't stand with you on it, but I understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from with that idea that it doesn't give the prestige to the match and the title in the same way when you're like, okay, you win this one random match over here, and at any
I feel
moment,
like all it's for is the dramatics of it. It's just drama.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is wrestling. I get that, but in my taste, I like a little bit more competition.
Mhm.
I mean, there's only one a year. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, but that guy gets to hold the briefcase as long as he wants, and if I'm gonna cash it. Oh no, I'm not. And then he does when the guy's down and beaten.
I mean, I'm excited.
Hey, here's what I would prefer.
Yeah.
That if there was a Money in the Bank where you get it and you can cash it in at any time, it has to be a match. It doesn't
Like
happen after a match. It doesn't happen.
Like you have to actually schedule it in advance.
It's scheduled like
Cena and RVD did
tonight,
it.
right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do it like in a single instant. You
No.
need to give them that. I get that. I get that as a stipulation that you'd at least need to, because in that vein too, you're still going to build the drama to that moment.
Yeah.
Like you'll show up at the beginning of Raw. For instance, Brock Lesnar's music would have hit on Monday night at 8:01.
Yeah.
He comes out. He's like, "It's tonight, Seth Rollins.
Yep.
You got an hour."
Yeah.
And now that countdown for the hour is
That
up.
builds. And I would even take it a step further. Like, I'd prefer that more than anything. But if it even came down to do it, like, let's do it right now. This match right now.
But it has to be an official
It has to be a
sanction.
match. I just don't like the idea of, like, the title jumping to somebody else that easily.
Mm.
I don't like that. I want the title to matter.
I think at the moment the other thing that they've done is almost the Money in the Bank briefcase has almost been written into a corner because the Edge cash-in was so perfect on the first one that
Yeah.
they realized there's no better way to do it. So
Right.
everything is almost a facsimile of that.
I
right?
feel like they're
Edge
mostly.
wins it. He waits almost the full year. He was like 3 months shy because it was New
Mhm.
Year's resolution or
Yeah.
whatever. Right before he cashes in as John Cena is laying there, beaten and bloodied, and hits him with 2 moves and is done. And you're like, oh, that's exactly what this thing could be.
Yeah, but
And so they built off of that.
yeah, I'd rather see Edge beat John Cena.
What's another? What other way could we cash in that has not been seen, but would be just as thrilling? Because we saw the Seth Rollins cash in was pretty good, where he injected himself into a match that was already happening.
Yeah. I would say it would have to do something with. It would be like there'd be a conflict where the champion was scheduled for another match, but this guy wants to cash in. Maybe whoever this match was scheduled for, it could be the like this guy's going for the title. His stock. This is why you want ranking. This is exactly why you want, like, some people should have more over other people. You should have. You should be bumped in
Okay.
wrestling.
Yeah.
And because in sports it's like that. You
So
know?
like if they were going to schedule a title match at SummerSlam, and then all of a sudden you bring
I
the
see it, and-
contract, and you're like,
yeah.
sorry, Randy Orton, it's not going to be you.
And they're like,
tonight.
no,
I've
we
got
don't
the
do
contract."
that. Like, it's Randy Orton. He gets the match, and then we doing this a triple threat? Is
Yeah.
that what's happening? Something like that would be at least more exciting than kicking a man while he's down, pinning a man while he's down.
Yeah. How are you guys feeling about how SummerSlam is looking so far?
Well,
Because they've announced a couple matches now, and there's a few others that look pretty obvious as they're coming along.
what do you think?
Well, do you? I don't know if you heard this one. You know the one I'm most excited for right now. I'm ready for whatever you guys are about to say to me online. But have you heard who Charlotte Flair is supposed to be wrestling?
No.
Trish Stratus.
Wow.
That's supposed to. She's been on SmackDown. She was on SmackDown last night, and she was this. How come everybody has a match except me? You're giving title shots to Ember Moon. You're giving title shots to Natty Neidhart. Like, everyone's getting. What about me? I'm the reason everyone's here.
Right.
And the big rumor is that they're talking to Trish Stratus to have her come back and wrestle Charlotte one-on-one.
Wow.
And that's, to me, that's the attraction match of. And again, we don't know exactly what Trish can or can't do yet
Right.
physically. We certainly will have the same questions as any returning legend, but that is somebody who also grew so much as a wrestler from her first day in that company to the day she went out, where she is now considered the the high watermark for athleticism and matches in the ring that everything else was built on.
Yeah.
To see her come back and face what I still say is the number one wrestler alive today. No questions asked. Better than anybody. I'll see your Kenny Omegas every single time, and I'll be like, there's nobody who does it at her level, at her way. There's no character that is as strong. There's no in-ring performance that's as strong. And this is that attraction match of like, originally I thought you would have had to tell me that Ronda Rousey was coming back to face her one-on-one.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Trish Stratus. And I'm so excited if that's the
interesting.
possibility.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That one would excite me a lot. A lot.
That's like almost like it's almost like Goldberg fighting Brock Lesnar, sort of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like a legend coming back, see if she can use her brains and experience to try to beat the more athletic and in shape Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I think I'd like it the most if it goes the distance. You know what I mean? If it's a barn burner.
What
That'd
else
be great.
What else do you think's going to happen for SummerSlam?
Well, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, Bray
Wyatt's got to get in the ring.
We don't know
They
anything
announced.
about
I think
that.
they
though.
announced that. I think it happened last night. They announced.
What'd
it.
they announce?
Him and
I didn't
Finn
watch
Balor.
SmackDown. Oh,
No.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Finn Balor and Bray
They
Wyatt.
announced it?
Yeah, because last night on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt came out on the screen in the Firefly Funhouse, and he was like, "What did he say?" He was saying, "I'm sorry, Finn. I like you. I'm a fan of yours, but the Fiend, he's the one." And then the screen goes, and the Fiend is there, and he's got, he's doing his thing, and this is also off of you saw what he did with Mick Foley on Monday night.
Yeah.
Right. Bray Wyatt the Fiend gives Mick Foley the mandible claw and puts him out, and then Tuesday night he shows up in his sweater with his hair pulled back. "Oh, come on, Finn, I'm your friend, I love you." And then he turns into the Fiend, and that's the match because Finn was interesting about that. Did you see the promo Finn cut?
Yeah.
That was where I realized that we may have some issues with this Fiend character, because even in that promo, Finn didn't seem to know how to refer to the Fiend. He called him like the Fiend persona, and that's where I was like, oh yeah, we aren't really sure
Right.
how
Well,
is someone going to reference this guy? And now if we're going to have both personalities, what's a wrestler say? Like, I mean, Bray Wyatt's cool, but the Fiend sucks. And
Yeah, but that's like kind of what adds the depth to the character.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know how to address him.
How do you think? I mean, we all know the Fiend is going to win the match. I'm not sure
Do
if
we?
the Demon. There's no way he loses.
I mean,
this.
I don't
know
would
if the
say
Demon
that'd be
comes
the
out.
very poor choice but I've said that with Bray Wyatt matches before. Now I know this isn't Bray Wyatt.
My big question is, do you think that mask comes off like he's obviously coming out as the Fiend, unless he comes out in khakis and a sweater and just wrestles as Bray Wyatt, and we're having this double like.
Wouldn't that be something?
Can you imagine the crowd?
And you don't know what you're gonna get.
Man, what if the lights came off and then he does it? Like he switches back and forth within the match.
If there was a way, I would be in.
That'd be great.
To compare it, last night on the show, so last night we roasted Jimi Hendrix. Jeremiah is playing John Lennon, and every 3 minutes during the show, Jeremiah would switch his glasses from round sunglasses to round plain glasses. And if you just watched, every once in a while you'd look up and have a different pair on. If they could somehow switch the Fiend and Bray Wyatt in the middle of the match, I would be all in to see that, because that I think would be really interesting. I think it's too difficult, but I'm wondering if is this what we're leading to, where Bray Wyatt is going to come out as the Fiend, but he's going to have a moment, he's going to take the mask off, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, Finn, that was not me." Is he really going to break this dual character thing where he stops himself, or he starts one way and turns another, or I
don't think he'll do that in a match.
So is it the Fiend that's coming out to wrestle? Is that I think my bigger question is this one of those dual personas like Finn Balor, where you have Finn Balor and then you have the Demon King Finn Balor, and one shows up or the other? I'm interested just to see how they play that out.
I bet this is how they're going to get. Yeah, they're going to start using the Demon. I bet Bray's going to win this one, and then the rematch is going to be the Demon versus the Fiend. But then, like you said, we don't know.
In all honesty, I think this is they've got 2 weeks, so it's not a lot of time. But I think this is the one where Finn Balor says, with what's going on with Bray Wyatt, I think we're going to need the Demon. I'm going to have to dig deep in self. I think this is the one where he comes out as the Demon and he loses.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you fully, because then, right, the idea is Finn is supposed to be taking some time off. Maybe he comes back.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, you still have that built in. Wherever Bray is at, Finn Balor comes back and he's like, "No, I'm going to try again." And then you get this real face-off between the two, and I
Mhm.
think you still have credibility with the Demon character. I don't think you lose anything on it.
Yeah.
I think the Fiend is going to look good.
Yeah.
That match is exciting. Kofi and Randy Orton announced their WWE title match last night. A lot of people feel like it has that big fight feel finally.
I don't know. I get that, but I also think that this is just a couple professionals, going to keep the title where it's at. It's like I think we're just doing a
Yeah,
job
I think
here.
so too. It really feels that
We'll
way.
get
But
Randy
then again,
Orton.
you know what? They love to do those wacky
Yeah.
surprises with Randy and
And
remind
they've done
you
it
that
with
he's a
Randy.
legend.
Yep.
Did it at the Royal Rumble 3 years ago.
Oh,
Where-
they did that.
where-
He
yeah.
won at WrestleMania. He beat Bray Wyatt
He-
for the title.
In the match that seemed like Bray was going over because
Yeah.
there were bugs on the match.
One RKO did him in.
Where do you guys stand on Randy? Because I feel like he's a polarizing wrestler, and
Yeah.
that's one that I will
I've
say.
grown to love him. I wasn't about it for the longest time. Didn't really care for Evolution. But in the last few years, it's like he's the old. He's kind of like he's the vet there.
Yeah.
and he's damn good.
Yeah.
And you know what? He also does. This is the best he's ever been. I mean, the carnage. What he did with Jeff Hardy at last SummerSlam, the ears, like that kind of shit. You need one of those. At least one of those on the roster.
He
at all
always
times.
wins me over at like Money in the Bank or TLC, anything with it's a little
Multiple
bit more
people?
extreme, or a ladder. When he hit that RKO, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
on Seth Rollins or something
At
like that back in the
31,
day.
yep.
Oh yeah, he knows how to do that real well.
Yeah.
Here's what I've heard about him, and I will say I loved him in the build up to his first World Championship win against some wrestler. I forget what his name was. In that period of Randy Orton, I loved him. But when he
The
cooled
Legend
off,
Killer.
yeah, everything about that when he was with Evolution, he was young, he was just dangerous. The RKO was hitting, that arrogance he had, that confidence was great. The feud with Triple H just started to cool him. I felt like they turned it in a way that they didn't need to at the moment. I've always felt like Randy had more in him than he was giving. And something I once heard, and I forget who it was and on what podcast they said, was that Randy Orton, what did they say? They were basically like, Randy Orton doesn't like to take chances in matches because he wants a solid match. He's not going to screw up in a match. So he's not going to start doing stuff that's not going to turn in. Like, he wants to make contact with the ball every time. Like, he wants to get on base. He's about batting percentage. Like,
Yeah.
so I tend to see that in some of his matches and some of his work where he's like, what is he, an 8 out of 10 every single time? Like, his consistency is there, but like, go back. Is there a program or a match that stands out where we're like, that was Randy's big moment or his big arc or the thing where he really let loose? And I've always just kind of felt like Randy kind of left stuff on the table.
Oh.
Like,
yeah.
he had a little more. He's always struck me, and this is with all respect and love. And I don't want to be a clout chaser. So the day that he comes and sits with us, I would tell him, like, I absolutely love and respect his work. I just have felt like he has so much more potential, and he just didn't really capitalize on it. Like, he didn't try as hard as he could have, because he's so good. But that's what happens with most people who are, 9 out of 10 on the talent scale, and they never have to work to be as good. So it drops them a little. Where you get someone who's a 7 out of 10, they work that much harder, and all of a sudden they're an 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have kept that Legend Killer moniker on him. Have him obsessed with beating guys that he respected as a kid.
Yeah.
Have that always be something to, and who better of a guy to put up against legends that can lead a match and make it look good and keep
What's
it
going to
clean.
be great is when there's going to be a young Legend
Right.
Killer
Right. Who kills
hunting
him.
Randy down.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's cover some more of what went on this week. What stood out to you guys? You saw Tuesday. I didn't catch last night.
Shawn Michaels showed up on Miz TV.
Whoa.
There are rumors swirling again that Shawn might do another match. The
Whoa.
promo was he was sitting with Miz, Dolph Ziggler interrupted. And essentially it broke down, and I watched the YouTube clip, so I know that there was more that was said, and essentially Dolph Ziggler called Shawn Michaels out for the embarrassment of returning last November in Saudi Arabia, or whenever that match was. Shawn was like, yeah, I was embarrassed. What do you want from me? And the belief is, whether it's Dolph Ziggler or somebody else, that Shawn might step in the ring with the idea behind it being, since he's broken the retirement rule, even though it's the Saudi Arabia show, Shawn feels like he left on a note that wasn't as good, and now he's going to step back in and just show one more time with one more person that, yes, I can do it, and I kind of want to fix it. I think some of these legends coming back, Taker's tag match. Shawn and Taker have always talked about how they kind of parallel each other, and how I always think of Magic and Bird, how Magic Johnson and Larry Bird would always talk about. Larry Bird would say, every morning I woke up, I would look at the paper, I would see what he did, because even if we weren't playing each other, I was still playing against him. And Shawn and Taker have always seemed to have that, especially when they talked about their retirements and those big matches. And I feel like maybe he's getting that thing under him where he's like, I just want to right that last wrong.
Yeah.
Since I did come back.
Well, now's the time if that is in his mind.
I kind of hope it's not Ziggler. Again, Ziggler's the guy
Who
that
would
I'm
you
not.
want?
Sean, who would I want?
I think he's got an eye on Ziggler, but his other eye's
Ziggler's
on
safe.
Miz. He's got eyes looking the other.
He's got eyes going in both directions.
He's got one eye on the prize. He's got one eye looking at Dolph.
Who would I want to? I'll be there. I'll say it.
His eyes are-
AJ. You say you could put him against AJ.
Whoa, I like
I
that.
think the thing that they did on Monday night set it up well enough, because on Monday night they had the Club and DX kind of run into each other. I think if he's going to come back, Ziggler, I don't think the storyline with Ziggler is compelling enough, because what he did on Tuesday night last night was he basically told me, he's like, you're a second-rate Shawn Michaels wannabe.
Yeah.
Which Ziggler's character tends to come
Totally.
off as, which is,
Yeah.
I'm going to move a lot. I'm going to throw some super kicks. I'm going to whip my hair around. I'm going to, I would love to see Shawn interject himself in this Miz and Ziggler feud, and then I'd love to see AJ confront him and be like, stop playing around. Like, first off, you can't go anymore, and if you could, come against somebody who deserves, like, really test yourself.
Right.
I'm like, what do you want?
Then what happens was with Dolph?
Dolph versus Miz.
Yeah, Dolph versus. I think SummerSlam, it should be Dolph and Miz with Shawn as the special guest referee, because Ziggler hit him with a super kick last night. He kicked Shawn in the face.
Wow.
And so I think he's the special guest referee. I think you tease the Ziggler-Shawn thing, but that's when you have the Club and AJ step in and be like, no. Like, kind of, I'm going to bury Ziggler for a sec. But like, what, you going to mess around with this tomato can? Like, if you want a real match, Shawn, you know you can't go against the phenomenal one.
Yeah.
So just don't do it at all. Because either you have to compete on this level. That's what you're saying, Shawn. You're either going to compete on this level or you're not. And you're not. So just stay back. Right? And then you get AJ in his ear every time. It's like, oh, I saw Shawn Michaels down in the NXT Performance Center. That's what he is. He's a good teacher, because those who can't do, teach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's okay, Shawn. You've already done it. You've done more than I've done. But now's not your time. Like, kind of sit down. I would like to see that match. That would be the one. If you're going to say he's coming back for one, put him, because AJ can move. They can tell the story. I don't know about you guys. One of my favorite WrestleMania matches in the last couple years, in fact, I thought it was the best one on that show, was Shane McMahon and AJ Styles in that opener. And that was where I fully was just
New
like...
Orleans.
Was
That's
it
when the
New
Hardys
Orleans?
came back. Yep.
And it was a match that's where I was like, oh my God, AJ's leading Shane McMahon through an incredible match.
Yeah.
I loved it. And so there's no doubt in my mind that Shawn Michaels in any condition and AJ would turn in an amazing performance.
And you don't actually know who would win, because if it comes down to
Do that at the Rumble too. Put that at Royal Rumble.
if it comes down to Michaels and Ziggler, I'm pretty sure they'd give it to Michaels.
I think so. And also, it just
But if
doesn't-
he goes Michaels, AJ, I don't know.
yeah, you really don't. That's because that's when you would. I would almost go in and be like, smart money's AJ.
And then
Styles.
also either winner, if anybody wins that match, that's great. Doesn't really hurt anybody. If Dolph loses to an old Shawn Michaels,
it's not.
it's a wrap. Come on, he's already been the
Right.
young Shawn Michaels this whole time.
Mhm.
Now the real deal comes in, beats you in his 50s.
Well, I think there's no way he's going to win, right? You can't let Shawn Michaels win that match, can you?
So
If he
I
goes
don't-
up against Dolph?
This is
That's
the
the
weird
thing,
one. If
they-
he goes against Dolph, there's no
No.
way he
It-
can
let-
win,
a-
but there's no
ask
way
yourself,
he can lose.
Tony, let me ask
No,
you this:
he's gotta lose.
If all the years of them giving Dolph to some new up and coming guy, and Dolph always does the job,
Right.
the one guy that he's not going to job for is Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
That's the one that they're going to let.
You have to look at it like this. You beat Shawn Michaels, you're getting heel heat. It's almost wasted on the character they've written for Ziggler now, where in AJ it works. AJ beats Shawn, that works with what he's doing right now. Dolph beats Shawn.
Well,
Because if you're going to beat Sean, you better go on to a good
How
run.
about this?
You know?
How about this
Yeah.
pitch? How
you
about
better go on a good run after that.
You better go right back after Kofi. I just don't think Dolph is there. I don't think they've written that character.
How
I don't
about
think
this? What if they make Dolph a character? You ready for this? He comes out next week. You know what, Shawn? Maybe I am a second-rate Shawn Michaels. So what do you say we have a match for your persona? And he becomes the Heartbreak Kid, Dolph Ziggler. Take the music, take everything.
Or he just does that while he's feuding with
Oh,
him.
he's
That would
got
be
the
fun.
look.
If he commits fully to
Drives
being
all the
Michaels.
girls. Wow,
in a
he's got the
feud.
moves. And then
I'd rather see AJ,
he beats Shawn Michaels and fucking owns it. And just instead of being less like Shawn Michaels, he just becomes more like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but then you're right. He'd have to do something big after that, and I don't think they'll do that much with him.
And I don't think that's
And people
there
aren't
for
behind
that.
him like
Yeah.
they were behind Kofi.
Yeah.
So,
That's why I say
it's not even close. It's not even the same thing.
I say you tease it with Dolph. This is what gets Sean back on television. He does a special guest referee thing. It looks like he's walking away. I think you turned it into an AJ thing. I think in every way, shape, or form, that storyline is better written. It's better. It's there. The idea of the club and DX are such parallels. I think, AJ and Sean have been compared so much. And either way you come out of that, you've built something. AJ could take the loss and still seem credible the next week. If Dolph loses, I don't think he seems credible the next week.
Yeah.
If AJ wins, it's the best of wins for him. If Dolph wins, I don't think that propels him in the right way either. I just don't think that. I think the Dolph Ziggler character is soft at the moment, and soft enough that the return of Shawn to be in that wouldn't be utilized as well as if you put him with somebody who really could go, and B, it really would matter. That's what we want to see. We want to see that matter.
Who's
in
the
some
U.S.
way.
champion right now? Is it? It's not Joe, is it?
No. Oh God.
It's,
Oh, it says so much that we can't pick this out.
Wow.
It's not Joe. Is it Joe? No.
I thought it was, but he didn't
It's
have.
Joe. He didn't have it when he fought Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns last night. Did
No,
he?
he didn't. On Raw or on SmackDown. I didn't see him
Who's
with
the
it.
U.S. champion right now?
Oh, that's
It's
fucked
Joe.
up.
It's still Joe. Joe didn't lose it, right?
I don't think so. No, wait, he did lose it.
Who did he lose
yeah,
it to?
Samoa Joe just wrestled. What's his name?
He got rolled up, didn't he? Oh no, wait, that was a Mysterio match, and he ended up beating Mysterio. Wait,
Roman Reigns just beat Samoa Joe.
yeah,
On Raw.
Joe's the
ridiculous.
United States champion still.
Oh no, it's AJ Styles.
Oh yeah, it's AJ Styles.
That changes things.
That's right. It's AJ Styles.
Yep,
That's awesome.
that changes things. Ricochet beat Joe. He rolled him up.
Yes,
And then
yes, that's
AJ
right.
beat-
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
AJ.
So it's already off of Ricochet.
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't on TV the past couple
no.
nights.
That was quick. That was too quick. He should have had a run.
He's young. I'm not worried about that
He's
long
not that
term.
young.
He's young for them though. You're talking about his first year on the main roster.
Yeah.
He got a U.S. title run out of it. That is a win on the year. Like
Sure.
if you looked at your year-end taxes, and you're
Yeah.
like, what did I do this year? And you're like, I had the United States title for 2 months in my
And he
first
dropped
year.
it to AJ Styles. He also beat AJ
Yeah.
Styles. Well, yeah. So
And that's why I'm like, take him off TV for a month. He's gonna be
yeah,
fine.
Let him
He'll
do that. Let him
you
rest
know,
up. They
he's
let
gonna do something fun at Royal Rumble in
Sure.
the match. I like
Yeah.
that we haven't hit SummerSlam. I'm already booking Rumble.
Yeah. Well, that's
I love it.
It's
And I'm gonna leave you guys to it. I gotta run. I gotta do a show right now. But
Tony. Where can the kids find you?
Yeah, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy this weekend in Pittsburgh. Doing a Kill Tony in Philly tomorrow. Doing one in Pittsburgh Friday, and doing stand-up in Miami, Palm Beach, Key West.
When?
In August and September.
Nice.
And so yeah, that's happening. DC, New York, a bunch of fun stuff coming up. Go to TonyHinchcliffe.com. And now this is a segment with Eddie Firth and Matt Edgar.
We're gonna just talk about cats.
There you go. It's cat
The
time.
we'll
musical.
start there.
You see the trailer?
It's
Anyway.
time. It's cat time.
Should talk about we could talk about comedy.
Yeah.
What spot are you doing tonight? You're going somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You said you're going to the Improv.
No.
I love you,
He's
Tony.
going. I'll see you later, Tony.
See your brother.
I'm going up in Burbank.
Flappers.
Yeah.
Which room?
Main room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why was that so hard to get out of you?
I just paused on that one.
A lot.
I was just pausing on that.
It's like
one.
you were like stealing something.
I was just pausing.
Were you embarrassed that you're at Flappers?
I've never embarrassed them at Flappers. Why would you say that? Who would ever think to be embarrassed to be at Flappers?
I know a few people.
I don't know anyone.
I'm not.
I don't know anyone ever.
To me, it's a spot.
It's a spot. That's what it is. I got booked by a friend. A friend had me on her show.
Yeah, so you're helping a friend.
They're helping me. I look forward to the time. In the comedy community, you and I very well know that some people look at certain places in certain lights, and I, especially having grown up in acting, I was always just taught like you cannot like the show you're in, but as long as you're putting in good work, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like you just worry about your work, and wherever it is, it's good. So
sure.
Yeah.
How much time are you doing tonight?
I got 10 tonight, so
Dope,
I got
dope.
room to breathe even.
Yeah,
So it'll be fun. What are you doing after this?
West Side Comedy Theater.
Beautiful. What show?
Comedy Juice.
Awesome.
Yeah,
See?
Chris put me on.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. I love that place too. You know those are actual comedy fans.
Yeah.
They're like fans of the arts. They also go to improv shows. They just love live comedy.
Well, then why are they going to improv? That was too easy. I'm sorry. I take that back. This was a busy week. So this week we had historical roast last night. I'm here and then Flappers tonight. Tomorrow I'm producing Glazed at the Improv. And then Friday,
Do you get a spot for that?
not yet.
No.
Michael Glazer and I are working out just getting general improv spots late night over there. Friday, I'm excited. Have you seen, I've been working on this brand new show called Pitch Fest.
Yeah.
So for
What is that?
Pitch Fest is 3 Hollywood hopefuls pitch their completely original and completely fictional idea to 3 Hollywood executives. At the end of the show, the executives buy one of the pitches, and that person gets a giant check for $1 million and a physical key to Hollywood. So the idea is we're parroting the actual Hollywood pitch.
Do they
process.
have to make the pitch before the show?
They do it at the
or they
show.
like write or they do that there. So it's just like an improv show. They sketch.
But they write it. They write their set. Similar to, I compare it to historical roast in the way of like, I reach out to them ahead of time. Like
Yeah,
Alex
gotcha.
Hooper is on the show. Atsuko Okatsuka and Anya Malik are all the quote-unquote Hollywood hopefuls. So they're coming up with 5-minute pitches for movies or TV shows or just completely fictional, crazy projects that you would want to work on.
Yeah.
Myself, Sarah Weinshank, and my friend Casey Bocchiamini are the 3 Hollywood executives. So we'll sit down one at a time. We hear the pitches. We sit and we ask them questions, kind of like I always say, like, all right, would it work if we changed the lead to a dog? Could we turn this into a dog
You
movie?
just fuck with them.
We just fuck with them, and then
They just got to yes and their way out of it.
we have the marketing department. So Lindsay Laris, who did our poster, comes and sits in. So while someone's giving a pitch, she's drawing a one sheet or a movie poster for whatever they're pitching. So at the end of the pitch, we can always turn and be like, well, let's see what the marketing department has. And she has an actual poster ready to go. It's one of my favorite new shows to do. I've been producing it a few months now. This will be our second live show. Definitely want to try to turn it into something on a TV or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just completely made up. The funniest thing is I have so many people reach out and be like, oh, I just wrote this pilot. Can I submit it? And I'm like, no. I don't want your real ideas. I want your fake ones. I want the ones that you and your friends get high and talk about that you know you wouldn't actually do.
Yeah.
I want that pitch.
Yeah.
I want the stupid and silly and crazy ones. You know, I want you to pitch me White Men Can't Jump 2, which is actually something I would love to try to get off
Do you
the
think
ground.
somebody would pitch that? Like that's such a funny. Like, can you pitch that? Can like if I were
You
to,
could.
would I want to like I'd want to pitch some obscure sequel. Or
I will
prequel.
tell you this: White Men Can't Jump 2 is an actual project I am going to try to get off the ground.
Well, not
in
that,
my
but
lifetime.
something like
But absolutely. If you came to me with like
pre-Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I would be like that. Would to me, I would right off
They're
the
just
bat,
learning how to skateboard.
right off the bat as one of the
Discovering
executives.
pizza for the first time.
I would tell you right now, I would be so inclined to buy that. I would, because I'd be like, look, you have a built-in franchise. I always joke as the executive I play is always like, okay, can we make action figures? What's the cross branding? Like, what else can I market off of this thing? I always like to ask that.
Milk it
like,
out.
you know,
Milk it
somebody
for what
pitches
it's
something,
worth.
and I'm like, yeah, okay, is this a T-shirt? Are we going to get an app out of this? Like, where are we going to go?
You're gonna make a video game.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Alex Hooper, Anya Malik, and Atsuko Okatsuka
Yeah.
pitching, and I'm excited to sit. It's so much fun to sit on the executives panel with friends. Last month was Danny Fernandez and Willie Hunter and myself hearing pitches from Matt McCarthy, Scout Durwood, and Jamie Loftus.
Yeah.
It was such a
That's
blast.
fun.
Yeah, so I got
I
that
love
Friday
Willie
night.
Hunter.
Willie is one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
Oh, me too. Such a good dude and so funny.
Yeah.
I told him
He's an
countless
enhancement
times,
guy. He makes your shit way better.
100%.
That's why he gets hired from writing rooms.
I was so devastated personally and professionally when he moved. I was like, it's the best thing for you, but I'm going to selfishly
I'm not
miss
too
you.
bummed because I'm going. So it's like I'm just seeing
How long?
Forever.
You're moving?
I'm moving in September.
I didn't know that.
And not forever. I want to come back, but I definitely got to go. Yeah, I got a place and everything.
Have you lived in New York before?
No, that's why. I'm from here.
I grew up out there.
Okay.
I was in New York pretty much my whole life.
So you
So
made
for
your
anybody-
way out here.
Yeah, I was literally living in New York before I moved out here.
Did
And
you
I
do
grew up-
stand-up over there?
Yeah, not deep.
Okay.
I started there, and what I found for me, I never really got a footing there. I didn't get in there. I couldn't.
Yeah, well,
I
you're
couldn't
beginning
navigate.
there.
Yeah, it's New York's a tough place to try to build your career. It's a great place to go once you have some sort of traction. Once you've
great.
done something.
Nice.
So with your
Yeah.
credits, you're going to find some spots. You're going to find some footing.
Yeah, well,
I think
spent
all
a,
entertainment comes through LA, so eventually you come back anyway, one
I
way or the
spent
other.
a month there a few months ago, and
Yeah.
it was great.
Where were you living? Or where were you
Hell's
staying?
Kitchen.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was like right next to Caroline's. I did a weekend at Caroline's, featuring for Jeff Garland, and then they were super cool and kind of kept me employed throughout the month,
Nice.
booking me on other shows outside of their venue.
Nice.
Yeah, shout out to Carolyn over at Caroline's. This person just, it's like you get every now and then in this industry, you get actual comedy fans.
Mm.
It's not just, that's a weird way to put it. You get people with good taste that want to make cool choices. They want cool shit to get to the next level. Tastemakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, Hollywood, LA definitely plays it safe. It's fine. It's, there's obviously a reason for that. But it's more political, whereas New York, it really was about what was funny. I love that. I loved everybody there. Nobody had any other motive than to do stand-up. So I'm amongst people that care a lot. And it just like the place for me. And very quickly things worked out. Very quickly I stumbled on an apartment that was just totally...
Where is it?
Washington Heights, baby.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I grew up 45 minutes. I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut, where the WWE headquarters are.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's a
You
45
ever go?
minute. Oh yeah, when I was a kid, we walked in the front door one time. Like it was before they had too many people coming by. So like one day when I was a kid, we just walked in and like I was like, "We're fans." And they're like, "Oh, that's awesome." And it was literally just the
Wow.
receptionist at the front.
Oh, my
hung
God.
out with us for like 10 minutes. They had a bunch of 8x10s that they gave us. Like I got like a Savio Vega and 123 Kid 8x10, not signed, but like I got like 5 or 10 8x10s just handed to us. Like they were very friendly.
How old were you?
In the 10 range.
Okay.
10 years
So
old.
you're cute.
Yeah, of course. One of the coolest events that they used to hold was a fundraiser at our local ice skating rink called Terry Connor's Rink, which was down in downtown Stamford near the water. And like once a year they would do, it's a very small show for them too, but it's when I've had some of the coolest interactions. Like we were up at the guardrail. Jeff Jarrett is going to the ring, and he steps up on the apron. He's not stepped in the ropes yet, but he's there, and he's saying, "Ain't I great? Ain't I great?" And me and my friend Logan are just yelling, "You suck, you suck!" And he looks us both dead in the eye. He goes, "You suck!" And he gets in the ring. We're like, He told us we sucked." And I got a chance to touch Yokozuna's arm.
No, I got a high five from Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that's the one
Straight
guy.
up.
I've never met him. I've never had an interaction. Like, I joke on stage. I say this. I will cry more when Hulk Hogan dies than when my own father dies.
God damn.
Because I've never met Hulk Hogan, but I have lived with my father. So, yeah. No,
Hey.
but like Hogan to me is one of those ones where I forgive a lot of sins across the board for who and what he is in every way, shape, and form. And I just want to shake his hand once. I'll probably blubber a little bit, but I'll just be like, I was the kid. I'm the kid that I was out there listening. And
You're one of the
yeah,
Hulkamaniacs.
absolutely.
No, it's chill. I did I ever tell you about when I went to a strip club with Chris Jericho?
No.
You never. Oh
No.
man, this is a few years ago now. It was the worst day ever. Like I woke up, my car was broken into. I had shows. I had a late night OR spot that night. So I was like stoked on the whole day. I was literally doing that thing where this shit was so expensive to fix, and I didn't have money. I was like scrambling. Like the little money I had, like, oh, now I definitely don't have money. So super stressful. But the whole day I'm like trying to keep it positive. Like, you know what though, I have a spot tonight. It's all gonna be fun. I'm gonna get up there. I'll talk about this. You know, all day some shit would go down, and like, oh, tonight though. But tonight. Finally, I get to the store, and I'm waiting to go on. Chappelle shows up, so now I might lose my fucking. All day I was so cool, right?
Yeah.
And then, but then, which he never does, he went up in the main room. He'll
wow.
always go in the OR, and he went up in the main room, and I'm like, oh my god, it's actually opening up, it's happening. It gets to the comedian before me is on stage. Eleanor's up there. She's kind of running the light. She's killing. She's running the light. She's like past 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you get 15. It's all good. Eleanor's crushing. She's connecting, but there's barely anybody in there. It's late. They're they're slipping away.
What time at that point? Like 12:30?
Oh, past that. It's like got to be past 1. I'm sitting on the stool in front of the cover booth, and up the steps walks clear as day Chris Jericho with some chick. And he comes in, he pops his head in the cover booth, asks if he could buy a ticket, and I jump in like, I got him. He's with me, guys. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And he's like, hey, man, thank you. I was like, no problem, dude. Let me find you some seats. So yeah, we're gonna go grab a drink at the bar, and we'll come back in. So I go to Abby Roberge, who's working the door. I'm like, yo, man, my favorite wrestler's here. Can you set him up in a booth? Like, don't charge him for the love of God. Like, be cool. Just fucking set up that booth. Looks so nice. I bust it myself, clean it, put a candle on. I was gonna give Chris a romantic evening.
When you went to light it and you had the lighter, did you play Kane's music in your head as you struck the lighter? Like,
I did, until I realized it was one of those fake candles you switch on. Jericho comes. I get brought up. Chris walks in. As soon as I take the mic, I see him coming in. I see Abby giving him the spot. So there's not that many people in the room, so you see Chris Jericho right there. So I do my thing. A lot of crowd work. His girl the girl that was with him was some porn actress. And so she was like being loud and fun though. Everybody was fun. Everything was cool. So we do that, and then afterwards, he's at the bar. He's like, I went up to him, and he's like, hey, he was like, I was at the bar. He walked up to me and was like, man, that was awesome. Let's get a shot, dude. I was like, yeah. So he gets me and the girl a shot. He's like, let's get another one. Grab another shot. Now, I don't take shots at all, but I take shots with Chris Jericho. I'm starting to get kind of drunk. And then his girl's like, let's go to a strip club. And he's like, want to go to a strip club? And I was like, another thing I do not do. Yes, I want to go to a strip club.
I would have looked at him and been like, do you think I'm saying no to Chris Jericho asking me to go to a strip club? I would have said it straight. Do you think I'm saying no?
I was like, yes, yes, yes. So we get in a cab, hail a cab, get in. It's me and Jericho in the back seat, along with Josh O'Brien. You know Josh O'Brien? Josh O'Brien just hops in the cab last minute. It's kind of great, though, because we get to the strip club. Like, I barely have any cash. Josh gives me 41s like my dad. He's like, here you go, man. Like, without Chris looking, like, cool fucking, like, friend move.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I got you, man. Don't worry about that. Like, that way you don't sit there, look like an idiot. So then we go. Oh, he also gets me a lap dance. I was like, fuck, Josh. This isn't for us to hang out.
That's awesome, though.
But he gets me a lap dance, and I go in, and Jericho gets a lap dance, and he's in the booth next to me, and I'm here, and this girl gets on my lap, starts doing her thing, and I'm like, I could hear his voice. I could hear him talking. I hear clear as day him go, oh, actually, I'm just a professional wrestler in town. And now at this point, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I'm trying to listen to Chris Jericho.
Get off of me. Get off of me. I'm just like listening to Chris Jericho talk to a stripper, and the other girl just kind of like sat on my lap and chilled for a minute. She didn't really have much to do.
That's awesome. I feel like going to a strip. I've only been to a strip club once. It's for my birthday. My girlfriend brought me. This is like 2-3 years ago. She bought me a lap dance, and we came here. Caught some comedy before the end of the night. I feel like going to a strip club and not getting a lap dance is like smoking pot and not getting high.
Did you go to a strip club, then come to the comedy club?
Yeah.
That is creepy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Strip club is the last thing you
That's
do.
the
that
last
day.
thing you do?
Yeah. You don't take strip club energy into a comedy club. You just coming back from that. You got glitter on you.
I get it, but like, my heart was here the whole time anyway. Does that sound cheesy? Like I didn't like what I really wanted. Like, it was because I'm not a strip club kind of person either. Once I went, I was like, oh, I do see why you might hang out here every once in a while. Like, as far as like if I'm going to a bar with a couple of friends or something, it was also like I went with my girlfriend and one of her friends who was a girl, and like it was a cool
You didn't get
place.
to have fun.
Oh no, I had a blast. Like, they were chill. We had a good time. We threw ones on the stage. They bought me a lap dance for my birthday. The stripper was great. It was a good time, and then we left. And that's when I was like, I just wanted to see some comedy before the night was over. I moved from New York. I left everyone and everything I knew on the East Coast to come out here to do something like this.
Yeah.
One of the toughest things for me is the concept of like, I am allowed in this building pretty much any night of the week.
Yeah, you are.
And I can pretty much watch any show I want any night of the week.
Yeah.
And the idea that I don't do it every single night sometimes gets to me.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, in that vein of, at any point when I'm like, the things are weird, I'm like, wait a minute. If you want to go, you can go to the greatest comedy club in the world and watch anyone you want at any moment. Like, you're doing, things are okay, calm down.
Yeah.
So in that night, it was like, cool. We went to the strip club. It's kind of a little bit more for her than for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she wanted to do something different and special. And I was
Sure.
like, all right, cool. Let's give that a shot. Like, it was one of those weird ideas that happened. We did it. And then I was like, I just want to be with my people. I want to go see my people for a second.
And they came too?
Now that you they came. And now that you mention it, the idea that I got a lap dance and 45 minutes later sat in the back of a room and I want to say I watched Jamar Neighbors.
He went from a lap dance to Jamar Neighbors.
Although, shout out to Jamar. That is exactly how you should watch
Yeah, I
Jamar
guess.
Neighbors. You should have a lap
That's the only
dance and then
comedian
watch
that
him.
could follow a lap dance.
Yeah, exactly.
See, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So strip clubs are there for it's off the beaten path. I have a feeling wrestlers go to strip clubs a lot though.
I've heard the stories of like Taker and Kevin
Yeah, but those
Nash
are like
and,
older. I think strip clubs were bigger back in the day, right?
and now even
Do
now
you think that?
I think
Because now there's
I
porn
think-
and shit.
I think it has much more to do with social media and paparazzi kind of culture, and the idea that most moves you make now, if you are in the public eye, are going to be available for people.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 90s, Taker and Kevin Nash could go to a strip club after a match and calm down and relax and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Now, if Seth Rollins walked out of a strip club at 2 a.m.,
That doesn't look good.
it would just be one of those things that could pop up much more easily. And that's where you have to start answering the question. Like, for one, I will always say, because I know many sex workers. I know sex workers one of my friends was stripping at that club that night.
Oh, no shit.
And I have friends who are porn stars. I have friends who sell their nudes online. I don't think prostitution should be illegal.
No way.
So in that vein, it's a conversation we would need to have, but it is one of those weird, like, okay, so Seth Rollins came out, and they even feel now like I have to be like, no casting aspersions on
Right.
Seth Rollins, but there's nothing wrong with a strip club, but all of a sudden it gets taken out of context, or you
Well,
put,
I just like this is
put
a
a
kid
photo,
show.
yeah, and you
It's
put
like
a photo
you can't
up
have
online,
like
and
you can't have like a Nickelodeon star coming out of the Seventh Veil.
John Cena coming out of strip clubs wouldn't look
No,
the same.
never. He wouldn't have. No.
Although I almost know for a fact he has. You know what I
Sure.
mean? But like I think
I think what I'm saying is, I think
him
for
and
one,
Ric Flair
strip
telling
clubs were
stories.
bigger, but I think wrestlers do that kind of thing.
yeah.
Maybe not. Obviously, not all of them, but
I think I could see. For instance, because I used to do a bit, and I was just like, because I used to do a bit about like I've gotten one happy ending massage. I see how things like that could become like a monthly habit. Like, I fully understand how those things. And again, I believe that should. I think if you want to pay somebody $40 for a hand job, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll take your $40 for a hand," like that should be an even
Yeah, why not?
transaction. But I also see how I would personally be like, I can't do this often because this would be a weird routine that I would get into.
I can't fathom anything like that, like doing it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so natural, really. Hey, it feels better if somebody sucks my dick. And I got a lot of money.
Can I tell you right now? I'm gonna suss out what is bit material because some of this is worked material. But do you know what you get? Do you know what you get when you pay somebody $40 for a hand job?
What?
You get a fucking professional.
Yeah.
Like you get some, and I mean this. This is something I use on stage, but this is a real statement. I had to look down 3 different times to see if she had started using her mouth because that's how good the hand job was.
Damn.
And I was like, that's when I was like, that's why
Pro.
I would pay for it, and
Pro.
that's what I would pay for. Because I'm
Right.
like, oh god, that is a skill I've never encountered before. Where I was like, wait a minute, did you? No, you didn't.
Yeah. So
Chris is gonna hate this.
it's not like he was just out at a strip club having fun one night after a comedy show. Nothing happened. We left. It was funny because I left first and I left my jacket, so I had to run back and get my jacket.
You had your jacket off.
I did. I just jacket off.
Jacket off.
When I came back in, there's Chris with my jacket. Matt, you left your jacket. It's just like I'll never forget Chris Jericho. Hey, Matt, you forgot your jacket.
Oh, I mean the Darkitect.
Oh, here's a crazy thing
the
about.
Darkitect is gonna hate us for this.
Oh, I thought you meant Chris.
Not
Bur-
Jericho. Chris
Oh,
Jericho's gonna
whatever.
love that we were
Whatever.
talking about this.
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Burns is not.
Oh no, Chris Burns is chill. What are you talking about?
We're gonna get a text like, really, guys? That's the conversation you had.
Whatever. We're talking about wrestling. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, when I left, I wanted to tell him because I had to get the whole time I hung out with him. I didn't mention wrestling once. Just goofing off at what was happening. Whatever. He saw my set. He just thinks he knows I'm a fan, but we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to leave him with something, so I was like, either gonna say, I think what you're doing with Kenny Omega in New Japan right now is the coolest shit happening in wrestling. Like, it was either that, or I was going to say, I actually was in San Diego, and I watched you win your first championship. I was there. That was, like, I was a kid.
With the one where he had to give it back, or the one where he beat the
no.
2 in one night?
The 2 in 1 night. The real one.
Yeah.
By the way, the one where you had to give back, that's my favorite Raw segment of anything ever.
The one that was in
That's my
Pennsylvania.
favorite.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah?
It was in Pennsylvania, I
Right,
believe.
where he beats Triple H.
And then they
Because
reversed
Earl
the
Hebner
decision.
comes
Yeah.
out. Yeah. I love it. Just seeing him with the title back then looks so good. But I ended up going with the New Japan thing. It just felt like it was current. It wasn't nostalgic about myself, you know? It was more about him and what he's doing. That's what I wanted to give him.
What I will always do, if I meet somebody, what I don't do anymore in my life is I'll never walk up to somebody and say, I'm a fan of your work.
Yeah.
What I tell somebody is that I love your work.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of somebody. I love your work. I
Right.
did that to Larry Miller the other day. I saw Larry Miller in a grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Starstruck like you wouldn't believe because I was
Right.
like, I didn't know I was going to see Larry Miller in Ralph's today.
Yeah.
But the one, I think the closest encounter I'd ever had, I got a chance to hang out with Rusev at a wedding.
What?
One of the
Which wedding?
I don't want to for other people's sake. I don't want to say it was a non-wrestler. One of the cool. He and Lana both. They were both there. 2 of the nicest human beings.
Yeah.
He's a huge comedy fan. We spent most of the night talking about comedians in cars, getting coffee. Funny. Later. It was later into the evening. I was just like, dude, you are.
I love
What you
your
guys are
work.
doing on TV right now is so
This is
good.
during Rusev Day?
Oh, it was before Rusev Day.
Oh, wow.
It was before Rusev Day, and it was just. I told him, I was like, you could do anything, come out here when you're done. We would absolutely love to have you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, that's what's
Such a good dude.
cool. If you guys want to, like, you wonder, like, oh, how do you guys get? I thought somebody said that we pay people to come on our podcast, like we're paying wrestlers to come on. Like, dude, like, first of all, like, these guys are wrestlers are regular people that like comedy, just like everybody. So, like, they want to come around the Comedy Store, hang out, watch great comedy. There's also happens to be a wrestling podcast there. Like, hey, come do our podcast too. They love that shit. It's so, like, wrestlers love comedy, man. They love it.
And
They all have their favorites. They have their, like, you know.
as we saw, like we like to talk about comedy and wrestling. Like John Moxley loved talking about wrestling too. Like the storytelling thing is so deep inside of all of us.
Roddy Piper was like that. Roddy Piper never got bored talking about wrestling.
In the years that he was out here doing stuff, and he did stuff at Meltdown, he did stuff here. I never ran into him.
I spent every night with him for so long. We'd go get food after. He'd take me to the gym. He loved wrestling. It wasn't like there's some wrestlers that I meet that are so far that was their old life.
Yeah.
And that's like you could respect that, right? They did it.
Mm-hmm.
But not Roddy. Roddy loved it. He loved making fun of it, you know?
Mhm.
I honestly, the Store Horsemen is like me, Tony, Chris, just goofing off, like here at the Comedy Store talking about wrestling way before there's podcasts.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper being around laughing at the things we're saying. Like it was like gonna happen. Oh, but hey, just real quick, and we'll sign off here in a sec. That night that I saw Chris Jericho, so I saw him win the title, and I went to a strip club with him like way later. I found out when I got home the next day that night that I was at the strip club was the 16-year reunion to the day when
Of him winning it?
I was there 16 years to the day. We're in the same room.
That means his undisputed title could start driving a car.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I've met a few wrestlers. Like I said, I got a chance to hang with Rusev at a wedding for an evening. Went to the after party together. Just a very chill guy. So personable. Most of them are. I've had a chance to meet Mick Foley backstage in his early WWE career.
Nice.
Met this one. I don't know if I feel like it counts because it was at a book signing, but I met The Rock.
That's great.
At his book signing.
That's you met The Rock. Wait, for the first book?
For the first book.
Oh, I love that book.
And let me tell you, like, when they call somebody charismatic or electrifying, like, you know that thing that makes you not be able to take your eyes off of somebody?
Yeah, he has that. The star power.
We were in a packed Borders bookshop in Stamford, Connecticut in February in the snow waiting to get in. It was packed. You couldn't see him around every bookshelf because, right, you're going through the bookshelves in the line. And, like, but you could always feel you
him.
could just kind of, it was right before the Royal Rumble, which he won. Where
Yeah.
I was like, when I got up there, I was
Where
like, so you
him and
gonna
the
win?
Big Show fell over?
And I was like, you gonna win the Royal Rumble? He goes, he said something to affirm. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, absolutely, I am. I'm winning. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, and then he won. I was like, no
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's around the time like I was really like I was going to my dad would take me to the Staples Center. I remember driving up to the Staples Center, seeing it, and as a kid going, The Rock's in there right now.
oh yeah.
He's there, and
Yeah.
I go walk in and be like, oh, I can feel it's electric.
I was sad.
I'm the biggest.
that-
The Rock was my favorite ever.
yeah. I think I've always said this. If The Rock had stayed in wrestling, he would go down as the greatest of all time because he was that good. It's just the longevity.
Well, no, but the thing is that he started cooling off. Do you kind of remember? Okay, like he starts
When? Because
this
if
is
you look,
after
he
goes after he's bald with the.
but remember that here's my theory.
I'd say even before that.
I say no only in that I think his last full-time match, the moment where he kind of retired to leave, was when he dropped the belt to Lesnar. And if you go back and watch that 13-minute match, that is an amazing match.
Yeah, that's what year is this? This is
2002.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
If he didn't retire and he stuck around,
You
then
would've
then he's the greatest of all time. He
Right.
doesn't cool off if he's
no, because he would have had the
he
redemption.
went bald and the bald doesn't matter, but he in his career, and he's talked about this in his acting career, he's lost and gained weight based on what his reps said would work for him, and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And that's when he was like, I'm coming back as the badass bald bruiser. I'm going to put on the muscles that people want to see, and I'm going to be the action hero everyone wanted.
Yeah.
But for one time, you remember when he leaned out a lot and he grew his
Totally.
hair out and he's trying all these different things. And I'm just saying that if he hadn't gone on to Hollywood and become the biggest movie star in the world right now, he would have gone down as the greatest wrestler because he was better in the ring than people gave him credit for. Like his storytelling,
Totally.
bell to bell,
in
was
the
great.
ring was great.
The character,
He made so many
yeah.
moves. He put his touch on all
Yeah.
the moves. Like
The character he built, the promos.
the
It's
promos
just,
were the best. I mean, between him and Stone Cold, really.
I think his promos were better than Stone Cold, only in the way that he connected to the crowd. Stone Cold gave the audience something they wanted that they didn't know they want. The Rock was the draw in.
Yeah. Okay,
Do you know what I
so
mean?
that's interesting. Like, yeah, because Stone Cold was playing in everybody's like "fuck the boss" thing. Like we
He
all
hit
can
a
relate
nerve.
on that.
He hit a nerve. He hit a
Whereas
chord that we wanted to
The
hear.
Rock was this captivating enigma.
And he was just like, it was kind of like, I'm going to get you on my time no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether you love me or hate me, you're coming over to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that was...
Well, I mean, when The Rock says this,
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you, like, what does The Rock say? Hangs on everywhere. I mean, remember when he would, like, he'd be a backstage promo, and then he would they were like, Rock, you want to do that? And they put the mic up his hand, and that pause, just like, and he would just slightly turn his head, and the arena would go crazy before he even says anything. He's not even in the room.
You think he and Roman are going at Mania this year? Because that was the rumor
I'll be
for
honest,
last year.
man. I'm look at I didn't.
I'd
I don't
watch
want to
the
see
fuck
I
out
don't
of
want to
that
see my
match.
heroes get hurt. I'm more stressed about shit like that. Of course, I'd watch it. I want it to happen.
That'd
but
be
I'm more-
that'd be
it
a good
stresses-
match.
Well, when you just asked that, the first thing I felt was stress.
L'chaim, you're a Jew now.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I'm converting.
Perfect. Where can the kids find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Comedy Store every weekend. Starting next month, I'm at the Improv all of every weekend in every Friday of the month. There's that, and then other big shit I'm not allowed to announce yet, but that's why we do this, right?
That's amazing. Follow me on Instagram at I am Eddie Firth, at Historical Roast, at Fictional Roast. Check out Historical Roast on Netflix. Our next show is August 6th. We're roasting Pixar at Dynasty Typewriter. August 14th, we're roasting Steve Jobs here at the Comedy Store. I've got a few extra tickets. Shout out to the store sign guy. He came out to our show last night and had
sweet sign guy.
he's heckling comedians with signs during Historical Roast. It's fucking amazing. He was amazing. He dressed as Fred Durst last night, so shout out to store sign guy.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I've got 2 pairs of tickets if anybody wants to come to Pitch Fest this Friday night. Follow me and Pitch Fest on Instagram and then message me, not Pitch Fest. I'm Eddie Firth. This has been the Store Horsemen podcast. The store
Holla if you hear us. Wait, holla if you hear me. Wait, no.
Store Horsemen got your
Got
hookup.
you hook up. Holla if you hear me.